I would love it if you could start out by painting the landscape that you're seeing, the trends in laid off workers, the trends in workers who might still have a job but not have the skills needed to do the next new job. What are you seeing out there? How bad is it?
Yeah, we have the opportunity to see the devastation of the healthcare crisis and the economic crisis day to day with our own students. It's safe to say the frontline workforce in America has been meaningfully, disproportionately impacted by this crisis, right? The majority of the layoffs have happened amongst workers who made less than $20 an hour. It's disproportionately impacted communities of color. It's disproportionately impacted rural communities. The devastation is bigger than you read in the front page of the newspaper every day when you look at it by subgroups and sub demographics. And so we've been thinking really hard about how do we help our own students who are in school today, and how do we help laid off workers who need to now go back to school, get training so they can move into a different job.
So how do you help them?
Yeah, so historically, Guild has worked with companies to offer education to their existing workforce. What we did and had been planning over the course of 2019, but accelerated in February and March, was we launched a product that helps workers who've been displaced or laid off or furloughed to go back to school, and figure out how to help them not only with the career services and the job placement, but help them understand how they might map competencies from their current job, like as a cashier or in a restaurant, or some of the hospitality trades that have lost a lot of work, and translate those maybe into a healthcare role where bedside manner is actually really similar to customer support, or that customer service experience, but you have to translate it into jobs of the future.
What are the jobs of the future? Where do you think the jobs are going to be?
That's a great question. I think they are going to sit in the 3 Ps, right? You've got people management, project management, and process management. And our computers and our AI aren't great at any of those 3 things. And so the work that, whether you're managing a person in a management capacity or you're helping a person in a bedside manner or a customer support capacity, those are jobs we don't want our technology to do. We want humans to do. Technology can support them, but we still want humans doing that work. And so those are the 3 areas, and you see those in sectors, obviously in technology, but also on a wide range of our historically traditional sectors. It's just the work is gonna look different because we're gonna be working alongside technology.
So you work with companies ranging from Disney to Walmart. Disney obviously struggling with theme parks in the middle of a pandemic. Walmart has been going gangbusters, especially because of the flood to shopping online. What trends are you seeing from the 2 different employers like that in 2 different situations?
Those are 2 great examples because it's a tale of 2 companies, right? So Disney made the incredibly difficult but brave decision to say, we're still going to support our employees during this furlough period with their education benefits. So they've actually leaned into that and are allowing their employees to use this time to upskill and reskill and advance their education. On Walmart's side, it's in some ways business as usual for us, where they're still encouraging all of their employees to explore education as a tool for upskilling and reskilling, as well as they're continuing to hire, which makes them somewhat unique in this economic climate.
So who is hiring, and what kind of jobs are they hiring for?
We've been a little surprised by that, because when we launched this next chapter product, which was for displaced workers, we went out and tried to figure out who's still hiring. And we actually got a lot more response than we anticipated. So the sectors that are still hiring are those which were able to be functioning online or in essential services. So obviously the big boxes, but also lots of companies that serve a customer online, whether that's, the new online bank teller or the new online customer support, or some of those services that just used to happen face-to-face and are now going to happen behind a computer.
Now, what about the jobs that have been lost? When we look up, and we're still in a period of uncertainty, employers don't even know what to plan for because we don't know what lies ahead. What jobs are going to be gone?
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about a V recession or a U. That seems to be the hot debate. I think we're going to have a W, because I think we have this first dip of jobs that were lost due to either the economic or healthcare crisis. I think we're going to see them come back up at some periods, or maybe we just saw that in May. And then I think there's a second dip to come that's tied to the automation agenda, which companies have been planning for many years and said that they would implement or would likely happen during the next recession. That's what everyone said in 18 and 19. So I'm anticipating a W, and I think those jobs are going to continue to be disproportionately impacted on our frontline workers, which means we need to dig in to reskilling and upskilling for jobs of the future for that entire population.
Now, I know early on in the pandemic, you took that no layoffs pledge, which Mark Benioff and Salesforce put out there. That was for 3 months, as I understand it. Now that this is lasting significantly longer, can you still do no layoffs? Is that still the commitment?
Yeah, Guild's been in the fortunate position to be able to continue growing. So we are still hiring, and we do not anticipate laying off our workers. But we are super empathetic to the position that some of our partner companies are in, where they had to do furloughs and layoffs. And so we're feeling secure ourselves and trying to figure out how to be empathetic and partner oriented to companies that do have to anticipate layoffs in the months to come.
So what's your expectation for this jobs day? Every week we get a new report. Sometimes it's slightly better than we think, but generally, we're looking at historically low levels of unemployment.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to look bad, and I think we can't judge it simply by how it impacts the stock market. I'm moderately frustrated that the analysis is simply how does this impact the way we trade stocks, and instead, I think the analysis should be how does this impact families, how does this impact communities, and I think clicking into that data and really looking at the disproportionate impact that these layoffs are having in certain communities is crucial and a missed part of the conversation at some level right now.
What are you seeing in those communities? How is this affecting them?
Yeah, we're seeing, our students who have family members experiencing layoffs or who themselves are in furlough or worried about that. They're in a really tough situation because they understand they both need to figure out how to not just move into another low wage job. They want to move into a higher wage job, but that takes training and time. And they have economic insecurity right now that they need to address for their family. And so what we're trying our best to do is dual track those conversations. How do we help provide for economic security now while helping you reskill and upskill? And that makes us really requires the world to move away from you've learned something, so you're done, off to the workforce, to a lifelong learning conversation. And that's something we've all been trying for the last decade, but we're really having it in an urgent way now that we have to help people move up in their skills and move up in their career at the same time.
Now, how concerned are you about the virus resurging in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and could that impact the W that you foresee? Could it just be could that trough be really low for a long time?
I think that's exactly what we're all fearful of, right? We're all watching it carefully. I don't have the crystal ball, but I share the concern. And, from our vantage point, just trying to figure out how we can be supportive of folks who are impacted by that, regardless of how long the trough is, and hoping and praying we come out of it sooner.